Hi, my name's Andrew. Welcome to Maribyrnong Library's Maribyrnong Home Coders. So today we're going to make another knock knock joke. So just like the first knock knock joke, but the code that we're going to use makes it all work a bit smoother, and we're also going to add in some sound. So we've got a blank scratch project here. So we're going to start by removing the little scratch cat, by removing the sprite icon just down the bottom. So we'll click on the bin and it will disappear. Now we're going to choose a background and some characters. So backdrops, if you remember, we choose over here. So we're going to choose a backdrop. Let's see, I'm going to choose a castle backdrop today. And for our sprites, so our characters, I'm going to click on choose a sprite here. Now I'm going to choose some fantasy characters. Stick with the fantasy theme. So how about a centaur? And also, how about a... let's see what we've got. How about some sort of goblin? Oh yeah, goblin and centaur. So we want to set them up so that they are facing each other. So I'm going to change it so that the goblin is facing the centaur. And we also might want to make them a little bit bigger. So the way you make them bigger is make sure you've got the right sprite selected. So I have the goblin selected. And I want to make him maybe twice as big. So I'll change the size to 200 instead of 100, which is the default. There we go. And I'll do the same to the centaur. So I've clicked on the centaur and I'll change the size to 200. And click away, and there we go. So I'm just going to adjust where they are on the screen. And to make them face each other, I'm going to need to change one of the sprites to face the other direction. So the way I do that is making sure I've got the right sprite selected. I then click on costumes, the tab up here on the top left of the screen. And I'm going to use the flip horizontal button here to flip him around. There we go. So let's go back to coding. So we've got our two characters who can do our knock knock joke for us. We just need to add some code now. So we're going to begin by adding an event. So an event is something that starts your coding off. So you need something to happen. So in this case, we're going to choose when the green flag is clicked. And what do we want to do at the start of a knock knock joke? Someone says knock knock. I think we might make the centaur say knock knock. So once again, I'm going to grab the when green flag clicked. And then we need to go to looks. And this is where you can make characters say things. So we're going to make him say, let's say knock knock for 2 seconds. We'll keep it with 2 seconds. So I'm going to change the hello there to knock knock. And instead of having our goblin wait for 2 seconds while he says knock knock, we're going to try something different. So we'll click on the goblin. So we want the goblin to know when the centaur has said knock knock. So we're going to do something called broadcasting messages. So in the control area, in the events area, we have broadcast, and we also have this when I receive message. So let's have a look. I reckon we need the centaur to broadcast a message first. So we're going to drag over this brick which says broadcast message 1 and wait. So now that we've broadcast this message, so knock knock is the message, Goblin has to then receive the message and do something. So I'm going to get rid of this when flag clicked. And we want the goblin to start doing things when the goblin receives the message. So we're going to start with when receive message 1. What's the goblin going to do? The goblin's going to say, who's there? So the goblin is going to have this piece of code here. So it's in the looks area and it's say hello for 2 seconds. We don't want the goblin to say hello. We want the who's there. Okay. And we want the centaur to know when the goblin has asked who's there. So we're going to broadcast another message. So let's go back to events and we're going to drag over this broadcast message tab. Actually, we're going to broadcast one that says broadcast message and wait. We're going to broadcast a new message. So you just click on the drop down here and click on new message. We're going to call this one message, whoops, helps if I spell it right, message 2, just so that we can keep track of the order of everything. You could call it who's there, it's up to you, whatever works best for you. So we broadcast message 2 and we're going to wait. And we'll go back to the centaur. So the centaur needs to receive message 2. I reckon we should have also done, no, there we go, we have centaur, that's all good. Now, when the centaur receives message 2, so this is a new block of code, the centaur is going to say centaur for 2 seconds. Where's this going? Centaur. Okay. And then we need the goblin to know when the centaur has said centaur. So we're going to broadcast another message. So back to events. So let's broadcast something else. So we'll drag over the broadcast message 2 and wait. But we're going to change it to a new message. This one we're going to call message 3. Okay. Now the goblin is going to receive message 3. I hope this is starting to make sense. Okay, so when the goblin receives message 3, what is the goblin going to do? The goblin is going to ask centaur who? So let's click on looks and drag across the say hello for 2 seconds. Type centaur who. We're almost at the punchline. And then we want to broadcast another message so that centaur can receive it and know when to say the punchline. So let's go back to events and broadcast message 2 and wait. Let's press the drop down and create a new message. Now we're up to message 4 now. Message 4. Whoops. Helps if I spell correctly. Message 4. There we go. And now we need the centaur to receive message 4. So let's go back to the centaur, clicking down here. So when the centaur receives message 4, I think we're going to hear our punchline. So let's go back to looks and the centaur is going to say, I can't believe you forgot who I am. I know, it's hilarious. Can't believe you forgot who I am. And I'll put an exclamation mark in there. Alright. So, I'm going to press the green flag and we'll see what happens. Knock knock. Who's there? Centaur? Centaur who? I can't believe you forgot who I am. Ah, awesome. That's really funny, but there's no sound. So we're going to learn how to add some sound now. So I reckon it might be good to have some sound that sounds like a tap, like when you get an instant message. So we're going to click on the sound area just here over on the left, and we want to play a sound. So we're going to use this code, start sound. Start sound allows the sound to play over other actions that we already have in our code. Now we're probably not going to want this sound, which is snort. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, that's probably not what we want to hear when they start talking. So we're going to choose a more appropriate sound. So to do that, we click on the sound tab, which is up here on the left, and go right down the bottom, and there's a sound button just like the sprite and the backdrop buttons that you've used before. We're going to choose a sound. Now, I was thinking that it wants to sound a bit like an instant message, so let's go to percussion, which is beats, drums, all that kind of thing, and let's try a few different drum beats. How about a low conga? A muted conga, hi-hat beat, no, there's lots of sounds there. Oh, the snap's pretty good. That sounds like an instant message. Yep, I feel like I should be checking my phone. Alright, we're going to select that one, so just click in the middle, and now this sprite, so the centaur, has the ability to use that sound. So we're going to have to do it again for the little troll or goblin once we get, if we want them both to have that sound. So we're going to change snort to tap conga. Let's try this again. Yeah, that works. So I think we should add that every time the centaur says something. So let's just click over here, and we want the start sound tap conga. So we'll add it just before he says something on each of these bits. So now, every time the centaur says something, there'll be the tap. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now we need the goblin to do the same thing. So if we click on the goblin and we have a look and see what sounds we have, we've got the options of fairy dust, but not much else. So let's click on the sounds tab and let's add the tap conga to our goblin. So click down the bottom with choose sound. Percussion is where we were looking, and I seem to remember tap conga is right down the bottom. Yep, there we go. Let's click on that, and now tap conga is one of the sounds that the goblin can use. Let's go back to code, and now we can add the code start sound tap conga just before the goblin says what the goblin is going to say. We can snap that into both bits. So let's try our animation and see how it looks. Fantastic! Now, I reckon we could make it a little bit more interesting by adding a laugh, because it's good if you get a laugh at the end of a joke. So our centaur is the one that gives the punchline, so we're going to add the laughter to the centaur. So let's go back to the sounds tab and see what sounds we can find. So let's choose sound. Oh, we want voices. So let's click on voice. Now I can See crowd laugh. I can see a few laughs there. Let's try with laugh 1. That's not a very enthusiastic laugh. That sounds a little bit crazy. Let's try that crowd. Oh yeah. Yep, that's the one. Let's do that one. Okay, now we can go back to code. And let's play crowd laugh. Let's pop it down there. I think that's probably the right spot to do it, timing wise. Alright, let's try our finished animation. Fantastic, that's a hilarious joke. So, everything you've learned today will be online on our Scratch Studio, which is Maribyrnong Home Coders. And I'm going to call this project Knock Knock 2. So if you can't remember how this code goes, you can go straight into Knock Knock 2, and you can even just remix the project and change the joke and have a bit of a play around with it. So we're going to call it Knock Knock 2. And I'll probably give it some sort of silly subtitle as well. So everything there is online for you to have a look at. And I hope you've learnt a lot and that you're having lots of fun with your coding. My name's Andrew. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye.